Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Leal. In this incarnation, today, Venus and the Moon, they entered practically at the same time in Virgo with minutes of difference. And well, Venus is going to stay in this sign until October 13th. The energy of the eclipse is very high right now. And I'm going to talk about Venus because it is making several activations. It is said that Venus in this position, it is in fall. It is exalted in the opposite sign, which is Pisces. And in here, it is going to acquire this methodical quality, and of Virgo. And this could be seen as a restriction to feel like pleasure and enjoyment that responds to Venus, but not necessarily. This is going to depend on how the people that have this Venus in their natal charts have integrated this position. And for the rest of us in the house or houses where you have Virgo, there is where Venus is going to take us to recognize value inside and in the simple things of life, because that is also Virgo. There is a lot of attention in tiny details, and at the time they have to create relationships, and they have to give form to desires of the soul and to generate resources. In fact, it is a Venus that is very service minded, serviceable. It is going to show that the other that cares about others through acts of service, of caring, organization, remembering details that can contribute to others, or constructive criticism too, to help with their experience. The shadow, it is in these same expressions, but in imbalance. Could be excess of criticism towards others, towards oneself, excess of focus in tiny mistakes or aspects of other person that are not fitting in their standards. I am not referring to values of basis values. I'm talking about aspects that are not truly making the integrity of a person or a project. It is like, I don't want to sell that book because I forgot to put a capital letter in the page 5. I am giving an extreme example, of course, but this is for you to understand. So the serviceable way in shadow, it is a way of showing love, but that can operate in detriment of themselves. This means, these people making a renouncement of what they truly want, the desires of their soul, their needs, and giving too much energy to the outside as a seeking of validation, unconscious validation. So that this eclipse, it is very related with this, because it is given in Virgo. It is a Venus that when approaches a project, it is going to put the intention in refine that, in perfecting that. But as I said, that can be turned into excessive exigency. There is an analytic quality to reveal like fails, in what we want to create. Also in dynamics in relationships that can contribute a lot. As much as we are not entering in this process of over analyzing, it has to have a true function of optimizing something. This transit, as I was mentioning, invites us to enjoy the simple things, the tiny acts of the day-to-day, of creating routines that can imply taking care of ourselves and the people that we love, and also breaking with this idea that eating healthy and doing exercise or whatever thing that we can approach that can represent a contribution in our lives has to be a restrictive exigency. One can choose activities, creating habits, and create an organization in among our possibilities to enjoy what we do daily. And this includes, of course, connecting with a service and with resources that we can offer that we really like to offer. That is Venus. I like this I don't like. So right now it is in the degree 0 of Virgo and is activating a square with Uranus retrograde in Gemini that is going to be perfected tomorrow, September 20th. And it is also creating a second yod, a finger of God. This is a configuration that I mentioned in the video of the eclipse, but I didn't mention this one. This means that it's making in conjunctions with Saturn retrograde in Pisces and Neptune retrograde in Aries and with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. I'm going to explain this in a minute. So what these transits are proposing on one side with the square with Uranus, it is to open ourselves to move out from our plans, to apply ideas or different forms of generating those resources. Perhaps we have to face a decision that could generate uncertainty because it is something pretty new. Could be linked with unexpected news regarding resources that are, impulsing evolutionary changes if we are open to those experiences. This goes beyond our perception. Also could imply radical changes in relationships that are, pushing us to the detachment of certain dynamics or people, because we are not contributing each other to grow. There is a desire of freedom in here with this connection between Venus and Uranus, but as it is a square, some people could be like focusing in the tiny things they have created an attachment to that are not making a relationship truly evolutionary. And other people could have the tendency to make decisions that are radical, both in relationships, as much as we are talking resources, very like focused in the desire of, freeing themselves of something or wanting to say something, but in an impulsive way, without evaluating that and without evaluating if that responds truly to the growth. So each one of us has to observe our own tendencies. And the conjunctions are aspects that are calling us to discernment, to identify energetical investments that we could be doing in an unconscious way that are draining us or that are not working, so we can transform them. When we talk about Saturn and Neptune, this speaks to us of making adjustments between responsibility and exigency, talking about Saturn. And with Neptune, it is about identifying intuition and idealization or denial of reality. When we talk about Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, it is about understanding if we are making choices from the will of transforming ourselves, of assuming the conscious power of our decisions, of connecting with people and projects from spaces of authenticity, or it is control, it is the attachments what are, impulsing that. It is the fear of dealing with the loss of certain experiences what is impulsing our actions. So these adjustments have to do with tiny acts because, in fact, quincunxes or inconjunctions have these Virginian and Scorpion characteristics. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.